Peace. Greetings to you all. It's your brother Nyhiem, BKA Lord Abba, aka Mr. Just the Facts. Just the Facts, family. Y'all know how we do over here. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Subscribe if you are not subscribed to the channel. Become a part of the notification nation by hitting that little bell icon next to the subscribe button. You'll be notified every time Be the Power goes live. If you would like to support our platform, hit that super chat. Cash app Be the Power. You already know what it is, man. So I got my brother BTP Ali in the building. Peace to everybody that's in the chat so far. Swanee G, Sister Fate, Lafayette Ward, Vayasa Nicola Gullah. You know, we're gonna have a discussion today about we're gonna have a discussion today about what went down. So another trying to call me. You don't know I'm live.
Peace, man. I can't stay on long, but I'm here for right now.
Stay on that long. I'm gonna be on Sinetta TV tomorrow, family. I'm gonna be cooking up some pretendians. But yo, Ali, can you just give the family a
Little
quick
synopsis.
of what happened today?
Well, what happened was um, Sister Roz had set up what was supposed to be a dialogue, conversation, interview, whatever the hell you want to call it, with this guy Ray Winbush,
Yep, Ray
who was
Winbush.
a member of NCOBRA, I believe, and he also is someone who I think he testified for the AB 3121 bill in terms of the trying to establish whether or not to do lineage or race based eligibility. And so, he's one of those people who believes that race based eligibility should be the standard for all reparations in the United States because the organization that he comes from is a Pan Africanist organization that believes, for some odd reason, that America should be paying all black people around the globe reparations so long as they come here. Like, so any black person, quote unquote black person, who comes from anywhere from around this planet to the United States at any point in time, according to them, are due reparations that were really intended for freedmen families based on the failed or overthrown Reconstruction efforts and the chattel slave system that they were forced to endure, and then the subsequent, as I call it, stain of slavery, the badges of slavery that we have to consistently wear because we inherited those things from our progenitors.
That's right. That's right. So Sister Ross, shout out to Sister Ross, host of the space today. And the brother Ray Winbush came on. The brother was very rude and disrespectful to our sister. She was trying to hold the space with, with the decorum that she holds her spaces with. And the brother knew that he couldn't answer any questions, right? So I think once he realized that this was a group of grassroots reparationists, I believe that's when it set in. Like, damn, well, I don't want to back out because I've already committed. Let me come up here and gaslight and be rude and disrespectful, because that's how I seen it. I wasn't able
Facts.
to. Yeah, I wasn't able to get up. I was having some issues with my Twitter. Twitter has their glitches, right? The guy was making all types of frivolous arguments, just frivolous arguments. But what I want to do is I want to go to what he actually said. Give me 1 second. I'm
You
gonna
got
pull
the
this from
clip from
Ali.
today, or from today, or from that other interview?
Well, I'm gonna play the clip from the other interview. I thought
Okay.
about playing some of the Twitter space you know, it's
All
about,
good.
yeah, I don't know. We may get to that at some point, but I mean, it was, you know, the brother was just rude. He was just rude. Just give me 1 second, family, while I pull this thing up. I'm gonna pull this interview up.
Shout out Michael Jordan in the building. Shout out LD Ward,
BTP Prime in the building.
Dean Smith, Sister Fate, Roz Mickens in the building, Sister Roz. That's right, Roz is the real deal, Holyfield. That's right. Black Seed, child of life in the building. Descendant of Job Freedman, EYB Entertainment, Vyasa, Nicola Gullah, Peace, Swanee G. Word. That's what's up.
So this is where we want to start with this thing right here. And today has just kind of been a crazy day as well. Peace, First Lady of Love. I see you. I see you in the building. All right, so let's expand this, and we're gonna play. This is, I believe, a clip from a Roland Martin interview. I didn't see the Roland Martin interview, so I only seen this part. I cut out the part where he starts talking about the hashtag cult and its leader, because that's irrelevant and has nothing to do with us. So let's play this.
Now, in the state of California, Governor Gavin Newsom decided to move forward on creating a special task force back in 2020 to decide who and how reparations could be given to the residents of California. And it found out that this task force were split, that there was still a big question about whether it should be descendants of Black people who were born in America, or should it be all Black people. Here to give us some insight about this conversation, as he was a part of the discussion virtually, is Dr. Ray Winbush, who is an author.
Up until about 4 or 5 years ago, everybody was clear that race first, as Marcus Garvey said and others,
Lies.
it was a Pan-African movement about reparations, that people saw skin, lineage, Pan-Africanism as foundational to the reparations struggle. The reparations struggle has always been a Pan-African project. Unfortunately,
okay, so
because Garvey
I just want to go back. Yeah, so all of this is lies, family.
Up until about 4 or 5 years ago, everybody was clear.
So let's break it down. Up until 4 or 5 years ago, he says everybody is clear that reparations is this thing that was led by Pan-Africanists, and this is completely erroneous information. It's misleading and it's false. And what it does is akin to Jamaicans trying to say that they created hip hop. It wipes away the accomplishments of people like Callie House and Frederick Douglass, W.E.B. Du Bois, A. Philip Randolph, et cetera, et cetera. All of these people who have put in reparations work. Hell, John Brown, all of these reparationists.
That's right.
From the Reconstruction era, right? And it centers what Winbush, NAARC, and NCOBRA and their cronies are trying to do is center themselves, because they helped craft the bill that is HR 40, the Reparation Studies Bill. We've done breakdowns on this channel. You could go back, man, that's probably 2 years ago. Sister Roz and Brother Arthur Ward out of Chicago have done several spaces breaking down HR 40, the NAARC and NCOBRA axis. These people are evil, and I'm gonna do a little flow chart and show y'all how this triangle works. We're gonna show y'all who's at the top all the way to the bottom rung people. But this is problematic because Winbush is a liar. Cam Howard is a liar. Ron, like, we just got to call it for what it is. These people are enemies. They're enemies to our cause, family. And we got to call these people on this thing. So let's play this, and Ali, I'm going to let you go in based on this nonsense this dude is saying.
that race first, as Marcus Garvey said and others, and that it was a Pan-African movement about reparations, that people saw skin, lineage, Pan-Africanism as foundational to the reparations struggle. The reparations struggle has always been a Pan-African project. Unfortunately.
Okay, so y'all heard that. I'm gonna stop sharing. So basically, he's saying that this has always been a race first movement, right? And he cites a Jamaican by the name of Marcus Garvey, whom we don't even think was a citizen of these United States of America, right?
Right.
We did a whole live stream or critiquing Marcus Garvey where we dubbed him the Messiah of Mission Drift. It's just a fact. I had reverence for Garvey back in the days. Why? Because I didn't know any better. As we learn more, our positions will change, and you start to see the problematic. It's just like Noble Drew Ali. I've been in the Moorish movement, you all know, but when we started to analyze some of Noble Drew Ali's sayings against what actually happened in history, we started to see that these things were problematic. In those same lessons, it says the wise man doubts often and changes his mind. The fool is obstinate and doubts nothing and knows all things but his own ignorance. It would be foolish for me to maintain a position that I already know is wrong based on my research. So, Brother Ali, touch on this race first element that he goes back to Marcus Garvey with and break that down, brother.
Well, you made an excellent observation in pointing out that he goes to Marcus Garvey as opposed to an actual freedman for his guidance, right? So this is, just goes to show you these people are wrong from the gate, and he's talking about skin. It's always been about skin. Reparations has always been about skin. Where's the source for that, man? Like, they're just saying anything, man. Just making up stuff to fit the bogus narratives and whatnot. And then they try to what they try to do is qualify it by telling you you don't read and you don't know history. Like, yo, all you got to do is have the debate. Like, they don't really want to debate nothing. They really don't want to debate any of this stuff. They just want to say this stuff and then run off like he did. So no, that's why he was mentioning some female, right? And I said he asked me, did I know who this woman was? I said, you know who Callie House is? So for me, the reason to
it was Belinda Royal, Belinda Sutton. She was one of the earliest ex-slaves, freedmen that sued her slave master. Like I was familiar with the name. Yeah, right. We've heard of Belinda. Matter of fact, we've brought her up here on the platform, but it was irrelevant to the discussion and the conversation. Because she was born in Ghana, that means that or current modern day Ghana, or what's currently called Ghana today. But I mean that wasn't germane to the purpose of the discussion, which is the words that were played by this man. So you can't.
Yo.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Abu Bernstein said, "Is Nyhiem Arabic or made up?" Ask your mother, man.
Who said that?
Ask your mother.
All right, so all right, so I get. Let me tell y'all where the name Nyhiem comes from. Let me break. The Arabic word Nyhiem is where my name Nyhiem comes from. It's my other birth name because my father was a 5%er. But I feel you on that, Ali. I don't know why, but I don't mind. I don't mind.
Niggas be trying to be funny, man.
Yeah, I know, but it's all good because I wrote a whole paper that's still trending in the top 3% of all papers read on academia.edu. And in it, I break down the actual origins of the Arabic language, going back to the Moabite language of Mudar. So we are the fathers of that Arabic language. And it's a part of history that, you know, Occidentalists here in the West don't necessarily touch on, which is why my paper has been trending in the top 5% of all read papers on an academic site that has thousands upon thousands of academic and scholastic papers, because the information that I brought forth was so intriguing. So back to y'all know I don't like to brag and boast and none of that stuff.
Nah, Morgan already told you we got to start doing that. Fuck that.
Shout out to Sister Morgan. Morgan told me to start dragging. All right, I ain't gonna say that. Start boasting a little bit. All right, I put a link in the chat. Well, I want to go here real quick, Ali. I want to go to. We brought this up. This may have been last year, maybe 2 years ago, on a live stream. So this is the University of Massachusetts, and they put out Reparations in the United States, an historical timeline of reparations payments made from 1783 through 2021. Now, I'm not going to obviously read through all of this, right? But what it does is it starts you with Belinda Sutton, right? Let's read that. Belinda Sutton, also Royale, was born in modern-day Ghana in 1713 and sold into slavery as a child to Isaac Royal in Massachusetts. After 50 years of enslavement, she was made a freedwoman. So she received this status here in the United States of America, right? This political status of freedman. She was made a free woman when Royal fled to Nova Scotia. Sutton petitioned the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for a pension. In 1783, she was awarded a pension of 15 pounds, 12 shillings to be paid from the estate of Isaac Royal. And they give sources. I love this link. I put it in the chat. So y'all know how we do over here at Be the Power. Class is always in session. And they're giving breakdowns, right? 1863, over 4 days in July, mobs of white New Yorkers terrorized black people by roaming the streets from City Hall to Gramercy Park to past 40th Street, setting fires to buildings and killing people. The overall death toll is estimated between over 100 and over 1,000. Immediately after the riots, which it wasn't a riot. I don't know why they keep saying that. This was domestic terrorism.
That's right.
The white merchants of New York, and they give the link, report of the Merchants Committee for the Relief of the Colored People Suffering from the Late Riots in the City of New York. We got to click on these links. I haven't really looked at this in a minute, Ali, but there's some stuff in here that we got to really start combing through and fleshing out, because we haven't done it. I just pulled the link up as a reference. It said combined forces to raise money to care for the injured, repair the damaged property, and support the legal and employment needs of the community's black people. The shopkeepers raised over $40,000, equivalent to $825,000 today. So this particular piece is speaking to the affected people, right? It's not speaking to people that came over from Africa, hell, people that even came right up from the South. They would not have been eligible for reparations. 1865, the most famous act of reparations is us receiving our 40 acres via Tecumseh Sherman, General Tecumseh Sherman, and Field Secretary, War Secretary Stanton's Special Field Order number 15, stating that black people were receiving Army mule and not more than 40 acres. Y'all know we've been through this. The Homestead Act was, according to this document, a form of reparations, and we were really boxed out of this. Ex-slaves were given 6 months to purchase land at reasonable rates without competition from white Southerners or Northern investors. But owing to their destitution, few ex-slaves were able to take advantage of the program. The largest number that did were located in Florida, numbering little more than 3,000. The program failed. So, I mean, anybody that knows about the Homestead Act, I mean, and so it goes on Henrietta Wood. So this is the 1800s, the 1900s, right? So now we start to see the Indians getting their land. So the Pueblo Land Act of 1924, right? So this didn't go to all Native Americans. It went to the Pueblos. 1927, the Shoshones were paid over $6 million for land legally seized from them. It didn't go to all Native Americans or Indians. It went to the Shoshones. 1934, Congress passed the Indian Reorganization. Like, I could keep going. And go. So what I wanted to do here was point out what specification looks like. It's simple, right? This isn't a hard concept to grasp, and it shows us that NAARC and NCOBRA, this evil axis, as Brother Arthur Ward calls them, are basically, you know, they're intentional with their deception. And we wanted to come on here and show that. I mean, we could just go, most of this stuff is to Indians, right? One of the things that Biden said, and this interview resurfaced with Ed Gordon. Yeah, I'll look at it, but we got to see what about the Indians. Family, almost this whole link, and I'll put it in the chat for you all, is payments to Indians. Many Indian tribes have received reparations. They have a Bureau of Indian Affairs that get allotted money through the federal budget every time a budget is released. Those funds get allocated in the COVID-19. In the COVID-19 CARES Act, I believe it was, they received $28 billion. My number could be off. It could be 31 billion, something like that. These people receive large sums of money. They are constantly being repaired because
land set aside.
That's right. Reparations is not a one-time thing. It is a system designed to repair. You wanted to speak to any of that, Ali?
No, I just was saying that land set aside as well.
That's right.
You know, I mean, money, land set aside, like Eternally Strong said, plus casino money. They're able to do that. Yeah, plus they have some degree of quasi-sovereignty, you know?
That's right. Where do I want to go with this now? This is simple for us, family. We ain't got to do a whole bunch of extra research, but I'll pull some stuff up. But I want to show, right? Sister Renee Ritchie said protective status. That's right, sis.
Yep.
You know, the Freedmen were the first protected group in the United States of America, and I believe Sister Renee Ritchie was in our chat when we were interviewing our Chickasaw Freedman family, Sister Janai. I said it right if she's listening, and Brother Ian.
Shout out to Janai and Ian. Peace to the fam.
And you know, and we were speaking about this thing, and the messed up part about all of these Indian reparations that I showed, and for those who didn't see it, let me put that link in the chat. Oh, I closed it out. My bad. I'll put it back in there. But is the Indians got all this money. They got all of this repair, all of these different tribes. And those freedmen Indians, they didn't receive anything. And I don't even know if that's an apt term to use, freedmen Indians. I'm not sure. Or Indian freedmen. But
Indian freedmen, but this more specifically is Chickasaw freedmen, Choctaw freedmen, etc.
That's right. So, you know, they got all of this, right? So I want to go through my little flow chart that I put together. But Ibrahim, did you want to and Ramadan Mubarak to my brother Ibrahim. And And Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem to everybody, all the Muslims that's practicing Ramadan. Shout out to all the Muslim family all around the world. But well, brother Ibrahim, you listened into some of that space today. You heard Ray Winbush give. I thought it was, a very horrible interview, if you will, because he came there with the purpose of educating us. What Roland Martin calls us stupid asses, he was supposed to be educating us, and he didn't do that. What was it?
Dumbasses,
dumb. Yeah, those demeaning elitist terms. I guess those terms you use when you went to HBCUs, Ivy League, etc. What was your take, brother Ibrahim?
I thought he definitely came for all the wrong reasons. I'm not sure what the offline conversation was between him and Rod, but he was very hostile and extremely agitated. And I kind of felt like it's like when somebody's like, you go to a store and a bum is asking you to borrow change, and you're like, man, like, get away from me, man. I got some other things on my mind, and like, that's just how I felt his demeanor was. Especially, he wasn't there to teach. He was there to like talk down on people who he thought that was lesser than him.
That's right.
And I appreciate the fact that they brought the person from Evanston, Illinois, up there to like, show, how that actually manifests in real life when you feel you are above the people who you are advocating for. These people basically, NAARC and NCOBRA went into Evanston and made a mess and destroyed a reparations claim and made it a mockery. And now, they're trying to do the same thing with the HR 40 and the AB 3121 bill, and it's, and the people are not having it. And because the people are not having it, they want to demean the people as less than, you're not intellectually, esteemed like I am. When in reality, these people don't know what they're doing, right?
They don't.
They're hiding from the questions that the community has for them. I mean, it's easy to sit there and, state your position and answer the dang on questions that's being given to you from the community. I don't understand why you would get hostile. And as Rod and him was, having their tit for tat going back and forth, it dawned on me like, this man doesn't want reparations for slavery and Jim Crow. He wants reparations for racism. He wants reparations for all of the atrocity that America has committed through racism to all Black people.
Well, not just that, brother Ibrahim. Not just America, I should say. Globally. Remember, their fight is against global white supremacy. And they feel that the United States should be solely responsible for paying out reparations in the form of, well, they don't even want money. It's so convoluted. What the hell do they want, actually? What do they want? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, in their mind, they got this big scheme that reparations is going to crush global white supremacy and capitalism and everything that America, has to offer that makes America this oppressive regime, right? And we're saying, specifically, we want reparations for slavery and Jim Crow. And they're laughing that down and then going with something even more of a grand scheme, right? While actually doing nothing, right? While actually working at universities that's ran by white people, right? And living these comfortable lives that was afforded to them by the atrocities that happened to their people. Like, these people are educators. These people aren't grassroots activists. They're not revolutionaries. They're not following in the Black radical tradition that they say they are. If you think about it, Black Panthers didn't have 9 to 5. Malcolm X didn't have a 9 to 5. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't have a 9 to 5. These people have 9 to 5, and every Friday you check your bank account to make sure, this capitalist system you preach against all the time, gave you a piece of the capital that you work for. So, there's a big contradictory. And I would also say, given the unveiling of the $6 million that Black Lives Matter, the mention that Black Lives Matter or the activist justice campus, I don't know how they wanted to, frame it, but, given the unveiling of that and that they tried to keep it hidden, why would anybody pay reparations into some type of mechanism that's ran by NAARC and NCOBRA, and then they can do whatever they will with the money? I mean, these are people that are way past their prime, right? And a lot of them are standing on one leg. I mean, as you see, like some of them are succumbing to death, year by year. So like what happens with that fund? Do they just keep the fund? And these are questions that the community would like to ask them that they are running from, right? You can't advocate for the same community that you don't want to speak to, because then who are you advocating for? Is just your ideas. So I thought the whole thing was problematic that he kind of ran. And they never run from MSNBC. They never run from CNN. They never run from Fox News, right? They never run from mainstream media, but they run when it's time to talk to their own people. And I thought it was all problematic. I think NAARC and NCOBRA for those reasons are problematic. And what you don't want is to create this Pan-Africanist Black Lives Matter where they're able to grift and swindle the people out of reparations and keep it all for their own cachets.
That's right. That's right. I want to share something real quick. My famous chart that I always pull up. This is the annual aid that the United States of America pays to countries all around the world every year. On this chart, you'll notice several might be an understatement, many African countries, right? Ethiopia, Sudan, Uganda, Tanzania, Somalia, Mozambique, Liberia, Mali, Haiti gets money, Benin, the Congo, Senegal, Zimbabwe, Niger, Rwanda, the Central African Republic of, I don't know what that is, Chad, Madagascar, Kenya, Egypt. All of these African nations receive millions of dollars every year from the United States of America. Do you know how disingenuous it is? You know how disconnected you have to be to tell people that people who are fleeing their own countries, where the United States of America is giving the money, as they always talk about, they stole all the resources. I was listening to the debate with Brother Tazariak and Malik Zulu Shabazz, and Malik Zulu Shabazz was talking that same old played out Black power. They stole all the resources from Africa, yada, yada, yada. That may be true, but the United States of America every single year is giving billions of dollars to all of these African countries. Billions. Burkina Faso, 81 million. Guinea, 65.3 million. Sierra Leone, 62.1 million. Gambia, 19.1 million. Togo, Guinea-Bissau, all of these countries are receiving millions of dollars. Sudan, 924 million. That's almost $1 billion. Mali, 230 million. Liberia, 212 million. Mozambique, 580 million a year, family. Freedmen are over here struggling.
You read off the Ethiopia one?
Oh man, how do you forget? Let's blow that one all the way up. Ethiopia gets $1.1 billion. This is annual, family. This is how much foreign aid the world receives from the United States, U.S. foreign aid by country. This is the annual. This is how much money these people are getting. How dare you? How dare you tell us who are struggling, who get nothing? We get nothing. We get no repair. Welfare and SNAP and food stamps, that don't do nothing to help us at all. Because after welfare built up the white middle class in America, which it did, when they finally opened it up to freedmen, aka black people, they drastically reduced the benefits because of quote unquote white backlash. They drastically reduced it. So yeah, I got that on Twitter, brother Dean Smith. And let me pull up, speaking of Dean Smith, let me pull up his comment. And Ali, if you want to go in on anything, because I want to go through my little flow chart. Brother Dean Smith said about Ray Winbush. Remember, this stream is about Ray Winbush, a disingenuous liar. We got to call these people what they are. He's a liar. He's a fraud. He came to use gaslighting tactics on our people, and they go on liberal media like Roland Martin, and we're going to get to some of that in a few, and they continue to gaslight our people. These are our enemies, family. Brother Dean Smith said of Ray Winbush, he thought he was talking to the hashtag. When Ross said no, then he thought it was FBA. When she said no to that, he was jammed up. He thought he knew more. See,
right?
And you speak to that, Ali, because they got this fixation with the ADOS movement. The ADOS movement is not about reparations. They're not about justice and repair.
Well,
they are trying to build a new Black Lives Matter movement. Like,
they know
that's
the difference.
Their fight.
Yeah, they know the difference. Like in other words, part of what the idea is to place the stigma that has built up. And I said this before when it came to the sister Camilla, because the leader of the hashtag movement was trying to do the same thing to her, where she's trying to consistently connect sister Camilla to the ADOS movement. And he's doing the same thing because they both know that there's a stigma attached to that particular movement, and they want it to go, they want it to rub off on everybody, right? That way you can just dismiss everything that everybody is saying, dismiss the people, and they can, rise to the top as the cream of the crop, so to speak. That's what he's trying to do. So it's like these people are racist, pardon for all of the noises like sirens and all kind of shit going on, but these people know that FBA and ADOS and all that, they know that these people have a certain stigma with particularly the Democratic Party. And so a lot of what they're trying to do is impress the Democrats and impress upon them to shun anybody who's in any way affiliated with either ADOS or FBA. So let's try to place the stigma of each one of those things onto everybody who opposes us in some form or fashion. That way we can just summarily dismiss everything about them and what they're saying.
Yeah. He didn't come to debate. He just came to talk down. And he thought he was training for an easy fight. So he's like, hey, I already know what to say when I face the ADOS crowd, right? I already have a speech for that, right? Oh, you're not ADOS? Well, maybe you're FBA. Because I already have something for FBA, too. It's as if he couldn't comprehend that, hey, there's people that understand that reparations for slavery and Jim Crow should go to the people that was harmed, as if you have to be ADOS or FBA or somebody who he's already seeked out to destroy to have that concept. Another thing, when you put that chart up of foreign aid that goes to these foreign countries, right, there's always this pushback about the foreign aid that goes to Israel when they're oppressing the Palestinians, right? But nobody thinks about the foreign aid that goes to these African countries. as they sit there and oppress their own black people, or they oppress each other and get into these conflicts with each other, right? And this is not foreign aid to global blackness. This is not foreign aid to end white supremacy. This is foreign aid to sustain their countries, right? And this isn't foreign aid that goes to like Africa and then comes back and somehow the freedman gets a piece to it. It's not global blackness aid. So I don't know why people can't fathom that when we want something specifically for ourselves, we should get it. And like I was explaining to Ali, you know, part of me kind of understands why, right? Because we never built the relationship where we have distinguished ourselves as a group, right? Most black immigrants, all they understand is, hey, we have our own thing, and then in America, we get to partake in everything that comes as far as this like flat blackness, black package, you know, we have a part of that. And now, you know, they've been over here, you know, 1 or 2 generations, and now you have this new ideology or philosophy that says, hey, you know, you don't qualify for this. Yeah, you've been over here and you've been getting what we've been getting this whole time, but this right here you don't qualify for. And you see a lot of them throw a tippy tantrum, and a lot of the Pan-Africanists who are living high on the hog, quote unquote, in the black community, you know, they are saying like, hey man, like I've been doing good. I've been wearing my dashiki. I've been able to travel and go over there and give lectures and stuff and be treated, you know, like a celebrity for it and pay handsomely for it. Y'all gonna mess this up when y'all come over here and y'all talking about lineage. Y'all gonna cut me out of some of the work that I've been doing. Y'all gonna cut me out of this miseducation circuit. So what they're doing is pushing back, you know, from, you know, their career in a way they've been able to feed their family. So a lot of this is self-interest as well. These people are fighting for self, you know, and when you come and you fight for a specific group, it goes against, I'm not going to say their grift because I don't think that's a grift, but it goes against the career that they've built and kind of this academic esteem that they've been able to, you know, build up over time.
Indeed. Excellent breakdown. Let me see. This was on the Twitter space, y'all. This was on the Twitter space. All right, we got Sister Roz in the building. What's going on, sis?
How you doing, fam? Everything's good.
That's good. Yeah, give the family, because I'm gonna get into some of I want to get into this one consistent theme that we hear with NAARC and NCOBRA and all of their operatives, some of whom I'm about to show. And that's that we reparationists are somehow tied to right-wingers. There's a reason why these people say that, and I'm going to pull that up in a minute. Sister Roz, give the people a breakdown of your discussion with Ray Winbush, and, you know, tell them how you felt, you know, after he dashed off the stage like a punk.
All right. How you doing today, family, tonight? I just basically wanted to share with everybody and put this out there. I basically had a conversation with him on Facebook. I hadn't been on Facebook in like months. And I got on there and I basically disavowed anybody that was trying to connect on the hashtag level, because it's like, no, it's been over a year. If you gotta either know or you're just wasting time with me, please don't. So from that alone, he had he was talking to me about the hashtag people or whatever. He asked me if I was hashtag, so he kind of did a cursory, are you hashtag? And I'm like, no. Are you, do you identify as FBA? And I said, no, I've never identified as FBA, because to me, FBA, and I'm not putting any disparaging remarks on them, but I just didn't grow up at calling myself FBA. And I remember when it was founded, but I remember also Dr. Claude Anderson using the term Native Black American. So, but I didn't say anything disparaging about FBA. So I said, well, I saw you on the, I went to a back channel, direct messaged him, and I told him heard his testimony last week on AB 3121. Would he like to come on and talk about his stance? Because CARICOM, I said, CARICOM does not include Black Americans, is what I use, in any of their words or their work. And he said, sure, I'd like to come on to Twitter. I've never done it before. So I'm like, okay, fine. I allowed for that. And I basically set it up and sent him a link for it. And he asked me at 5:50 this morning, I'm in the gym working out and doing my cardio. Y'all be proud of me. But he sends me a message and he's asking so somebody doesn't wake up at 5:50 like, hey, how do I get on? And I said, hey, just text tap the link that I sent you. Make sure you're on your cell phone. Make sure that you got your do not disturb, everything else on. So then he sends me a message later on. Our Twitter space was at 1:00, and he sent me something around 12 something. I don't know what time right away. But he sent me something, and I said, hey, don't worry about it. Send it here. He said, hey, I'm going to be on 5 minutes early. So I said, okay, great. He told me that this morning. And I was just ready for him to be on and get ready for it. So when we get on and he's talking about the hashtag or whatever the case has been, and I let him talk for about, several minutes. And I said, well, I'm concerned because you're mentioning about this worldview, and I'm really more worried about, you guys, are you part of NCOBRA? He said, yes, he is. I said, okay, on your website, you have Queen Mother Audley Moore, but basically what you have her image, and it's a gaslight, because here's the actual pamphlet that she's talking about, and she said reparation for Negroes. So what he tried to say was, because wait a minute, back then in the 60s, everybody called themselves Negroes. Jamaican people call themselves Negroes? I don't think so. Africans never call themselves Negroes. I mean, I think he thinks I'm a lot younger than what I am, but that's okay. That's cute. And I'm still a Gen Xer, but I think he doesn't understand that I grew up around like older people. And I know better. Like, my aunt is a Gen Xer. She's an educator, and these people tell me things. It's like, and it's like they did not call themselves that. They would call themselves, Nigerian, or they were very proud of their tribe. They were very proud of, I'm from Nigeria, I'm from Trinidad, I'm from Jamaica, I'm from whatever. They would never call themselves a Negro. That would totally erase any of their ancestry. They would totally erase them. So I just let them go ahead, and I was trying to hold back because I'm like, man, who do you think you're talking to? And I should have just started cussing them out in French. But anyway, so he comes in and he's doing all this talking. I'm holding back as much as I could, but I had to read a paragraph. He says, well, basically, he was very dismissive of Queen Audley Moore's work. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I'm like, wait a minute, how can you just be dismissive of it? Because she specifically says here who is for. So then he, I believe, feigns anger, like, oh, this is a gotcha. Oh, I'm being set up. Oh, because he specifically clearly came in there to just, try to excoriate the hashtag and FBA. And I think the purpose of it was much greater. And to me, that's a coward. Anyway, I'm not going to set you up to excoriate anybody unless I'm going to have that person's, some type of representative, or they've come to the party too. In other words, FBA, I believe that's Brother Tariq Nasheed. If he wants to come in there, and I'm going to invite him, I'm going to invite him to the party. So Ray Winbush, you're not talking behind this man's back. You're talking totally in front of his face, and you can do that. Now, I've invited the hashtag people to come on and have dialogue, and nobody ever sends their leadership. into having these conversations with me or to other leaders such as Ibrahim or they or people that have been putting together the organization. They never do that. So I knew that wouldn't happen. But if you're going to just FBA is not even an organization. It's what people have identified themselves as, but it's not an organization that you can just say, hey, I'm suing FBA. That's just crazy. I'm suing Black too, okay? But every way he was trying to wiggle and turn, he was just feigning more anger. Like, you're sounding like, are you African? And I said, I've never stepped foot in Africa. Never. So, and then he was saying, oh, well, Kamala Harris, he said something else like, somebody that comes over and proves that they are Black, they would be able to get California reparations. I'm like, I wouldn't. I'm definitely Black. And I wouldn't be able to get California reparations even as a freedman. I walked in California like maybe 50 or 60 steps, then that's it. And I got back on the plane. But I've never, and he's like, oh, no, you wouldn't be eligible. So what are you talking about? I mean, he's like, he was all over the place. He feigned anger. Then Brother Ali got, his audio right. And he came in there and Ali was very, he was very diplomatic. No, he came in like fire, but he tried to be like, well, if you want to have a conversation, let's have a conversation.
Yeah, because he wasn't trying to have a conversation. He wasn't interrupting you every time you would say. He was just really disrespectful, and that's something that I see.
This is the thing I gotta say though, real quick, and I'm gonna be done. He knew prior to the whole conversation that I am D9, right? I've celebrated recently my anniversary of being D9. He would never, ever come at me or any D9 person and try to put that and lambaste that. You know why? It's too many of us that are in high positions within the federal government, within academia, etc. So he's not going to come in and be like, oh yeah, you da-da-da-da-da, or whatever the case. But he knew, because I mentioned several things that let him know that I'm very familiar with his school of Morgan State. And I go back over 3 decades with it, and I know he doesn't know who I know. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so he would never come in on that level and throw us out the window. So that's another thing. He doesn't understand who he's dealing with. You're right. Somebody said, well, he didn't know, but I was trying to, because I felt him getting very moist, very emotional, very angry, that I didn't even go in like normal. I say, well, look, I know people that are your elders that you're totally dismissing. They do not agree with you. Well, they have every right not to. Okay. But that's the point, isn't it? Who are you getting these marching orders from? And I'll land on that.
That's right. And so what I want to do, I want to pull my little flow chart up real quick. I want to expose something. Before Sister Ross started speaking, I was speaking to the fact that these people keep saying that we're right wingers, right? Those of us that are into reparations. They always bring up they're anti-immigrationists. I'm staunchly anti-immigration. Immigration hurts freedmen in the United States of America. I have some statistics that I might pull up. I might pull these things up. This is why they don't want to have debates with us, because we would absolutely destroy them, and they can't get around these arguments. Now, some of them come and watch Be the Power. They know what we're on. They know what we're on. So let's share this. So a little Word document I put together. I ain't try to do nothing fancy with a PowerPoint, but these are the heads right here. These are the ones that are running this whole thing. These 2 white men. It's just that one is darker than the other. Obama and Biden. And when I say white men, I don't just mean, in the context of just these two racist white men. I just mean these two white men are running this. They're running this democratic shell game that freedmen have been caught up in for the past several generations. They are the heads of what's going on. And then you have the current administration. Right? So you have Biden, Pelosi, and you have Kamala. Those of you familiar with the kente cloth pick, I had that pulled up. What did I do with it? I ain't got it pulled up right now. But those of you familiar with the kente cloth pick, you've seen Pelosi and all of these ignorant black folk don kente cloth and take a knee. I don't know if this was, some Wakandan salute / ode to Colin Kaepernick, but it was phony as hell. And everybody seen through it. And it hurt their brand really, really bad. And I don't think that the Democrats realized how bad that hurt them, coupled with some of the more problematic statements that Joe Biden has made. If you don't vote for me, you're not black. Yelling at black people on the Zoom call. I mean, just yelling at them because Obama told him, that's how you got to talk to the Negroes, Joe. And don't be afraid to use Pookie and Ray Ray. Don't be afraid to use those terms. So this is the Congressional Black Caucus. They go by many different names. The Coon Black Caucus, the Congressional Black Coons. These are not terms that I use. I'm just giving y'all some of the more popular names that I see floating around on the internet. I've seen Sambo, Uncle Tom, although, Uncle Tom was really the hero. They switched the story up. Sambo was really the sellout. But, I mean, switched up story, switched up name. I guess it doesn't matter. These are the people who are the gatekeepers. They are the buffers to these people right here. They have made it known that you will not get past them to get directly to them. They have made this already known, right? Oh man, thanks for reminding me. I gotta pull that up. Hold on. Because this is who these people are. Wait, let me scroll down. This is who these people are right here.
Kadu. White folks ain't that bad. Kadu. Look at that. I'm so happy. I just do my happy dance.
Yes, that's who they are. That's who they are. I had to pull that up. So this person right here, Sheila Jackson Lee, is a Jamaican woman. She's of Jamaican descent. She doesn't tie into our plight here. It is merely a talking point for her. That's like the British guy playing the role of Fred Hampton. Just didn't embody the role. I couldn't even watch it. I just couldn't watch it. I refused to. It's like the African chick, what's her name, playing Harriet Tubman. That's who this person is, Sheila Jackson Lee. She's not invested in this thing. She doesn't fight for it. We've shown articles on this channel of Democrats, the top leadership in the Democratic Party, telling everybody else, stop talking about reparations. Stop talking about reparations. This was a good one. This is a good one. The Congressional Caribbean Caucus. Yes. So from here, the main gatekeeper of reparations, right? These are the political gatekeepers. she's the gatekeeper of reparations because she is the one that introduces HR 40 at every session. HR 40 is a horrible, horrible bill. It's a horrible piece of legislation. It is horribly written. And as we've exposed here on Be the Power about 2 years ago, it is nothing more than a money grab for a group of people that are trying to get GS 18 pay from the United States government while they sit on the commission, right? So now we get to NAARC and NCOBRA. So we have Cam Howard to the left and Ron Daniels on the right. Two very disingenuous individuals. These are the people that say that it doesn't matter if you came here a week ago. Literally, they've said this. It doesn't matter if you came here a week ago. You deserve reparations from the United States of America. Forget the fact that you immigrated to a country that you know has a history of racism towards the freedmen. Because we can't just say all racism towards black people. This is my Instagram page is still hacked. And it would take too much for me to scroll through my page to find. Let me see if I could pull it up. Let's see if it'll pull up for me. I wanted to play Muhammad Ali saying that in Louisville, Kentucky. It's some okay. So Muhammad Ali said while in Louisville, Kentucky. See, this is how you beat these people, family. And it's on my IG page, which is still hacked by a Nigerian of all people. A Nigerian has my page hacked. He actually had the nerve to engage in a back and forth with Brother Logic. Logic was cursing him out. That's how we know he's a Nigerian. That's my page hack. But anyway, Muhammad Ali said he went into a restaurant right after this African couple went in. He said they were dressed in African garb. They probably looked like these two clowns right here. You know, some people don't want us to engage a certain type of way, but we be the power. We men over here. And when diplomacy fails, we start crushing. It's just as simple as that. Start crushing these people because they are enemies and they do not deserve niceties at all. These people are clowns, family. But Muhammad Ali said these people went in and they were able to take their, he said they was black, purple black is what Muhammad Ali called them. You know, that African continent black, as it's called, or really, really dark brown, because nobody's black. My t-shirt is black. You can clearly discern my brown skin from this black t-shirt, black hat, black headphones, etc. that I have on. Anyway, he said they served them. Muhammad Ali said they served them. In a book, I used to reference it all the time here. I can't remember the name of it or the author, but the author spoke of, it was the name of the book is called Mau Mau of Harlem. And in the book, the author speaks about how, and this was from an interview that he gave. I didn't actually read the book. How the State Department wanted to give Africans who started to come over in the 60s special pins that they could wear that would distinguish them from freedmen. See, we got ways to kill these people, family, with this argument. And we will, if they're bold enough to face us. If these people are bold enough to face us, we got ways to absolutely destroy all of their arguments, because these people are light work. Why do you think Roland Martin calls for the smoke? But when it's us, particularly the brothers that be the power, he runs and hides. He ignores us. Or he'll jump on one of my threads and say, y'all a bunch of stupid asses. They don't want the smoke. Just like Ray Winbush didn't want to smoke. He just wanted to disrespect Sister Roz. And when Brother Ali got on, then he wanted to run. He ran because he's a sucker. These people are suckers. We got to call it. So let's get into it. Here, speak of the devil. Roland Martin, right? So he runs the media arm for black liberalism. Like, let's call it what it is. What did Malcolm say of the fox and the wolf? He said that the Republicans, the conservatives, rather, were wolves. Their intentions are clear. They show their teeth because they want to eat you. He said the fox, on the other hand, the fox is sly. The fox is always smiling. He said, but the fox and the wolf will eat you the same. The difference is the fox looks friendly. And that's what we have here. We have some slick black foxes in this group. And Roland Martin is the ringleader. He is the gaslighter in chief. These guys, like him and Greg Carr, who was pictured to the left of Ray Winbush, whom we had on earlier, these are the Tucker Carlson of black liberalism. They are Tucker Carlson-like. Let's call it what it is. Shout out to Brother Arthur Ward that's in the building. It's my flow chart. I got a low flow chart going on, right? And here you have Mark Thompson. Now, Mark Thompson, when the whole hashtag movement was popping off and people were confronting a lot of these Pan-Africanists, he actually punched the man in the face. That hashtag movement attracted some different type of males, but we men over here, you swing this way, you're gonna catch a real serious beat down. And I just want to put that in the public, fam. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. I won't put that in the public. Then you get to these people right here in mainstream media. So you have Joy Ann Reid, who's from the Congo. Hold on one second, family. Yeah, so you have Joy Ann Reid to the left. We familiar with Joy Ann Reid from MSDNC. MSNBC. Trump called it MSDNC. On that, I agree with Trump because that's exactly what it is. And the sister to the right of her is Shireen Mitchell, a.k.a. Digital Sister. Now, when we jumped on Clubhouse, right, and this was after we found out that the ADOS movement wasn't a reparations movement, but that it was a cult designed for the worship of Yvette Carnell, and our message started to spread on Clubhouse, they started to form these rooms. And they brought on people like this woman right here, Jessica Ann Mitchell Iwuya. She's a lower level worm, but she is very influential in how she moves. She's like if you ever watched the Game of Thrones, she's like the spy. I can't think of that guy's name, but that's what she's like. Just real, I don't like using terms like messy, but that's what she is, right? And these people are all connected. And I wanted to show some of the women that's in this movement as well, because this means something. When you start getting into this understanding of why reparations is not advancing past these particular people. This chick, whose nickname is Jam, she tried to come on our platform one time. Me and Ali cooked her up real quick because, she's seen that we were going at it with the hashtag movement, and she has a hard on for that group. But now that they see that this Freedmen thing is gaining the steam that it is gaining, they are trying to run interference. And we have to call these people out because they keep saying they are funded by the right. They are funded by the right. And they try to associate the Freedmen movement, which is us simply tying back into our political status. The Freedmen is not some made up hashtag group that was formed on Twitter. It's not. So shout out to my brother Ty Harper for sending me this, right? Let's pull this up. Let's pull this up real quick. Let's stop sharing this. Let's make sure y'all hit that like button, family. Make sure y'all contribute to the platform. Use the super chat. Cash app be the power. Class is always in session over here. So here's a link. This is from the MacArthur Foundation. And I haven't done any background on the MacArthur Foundation, right? Grants are grants at the end of the day. Grants are grants. But it has come out that many of these groups are funding liberal, black, left-wing groups to advance certain causes. And so you see it says 80 million to advance racial and ethnic justice. Now, the MacArthur Foundation may be neutral. Maybe. I don't know, because I haven't done any real research on them. When I'm doing grant research for our nonprofit, the MacArthur Foundation always pops up. I'm going to be fair and say that, right? So when we're looking at, and I'm going to get to, let me see, he has a couple screen grabs. I'm going to pull these screen grabs up. I hope you all can see these. So let me stop sharing this. Let's go pull up Facebook. Okay. So let's see, right? Let's look at this thing. In racial justice field support, MacArthur approved 37 grants totaling 36 million to organizations, including, let me see if this is pulled up right. Okay, cool. That's cool. All right, hold on. Somebody said Mark Thompson is Al Sharpton's henchman. Man, Mark Thompson to get the brakes beat off him. Let's see. Let's go. All right. How did I lose the page? Oh, because I'm on Facebook. I didn't lose it. Okay. So, Institute of the Black World 21st Century, IBW-21. This is the NAARC NCOBRA group. It says they will receive 1.5 million to build, excuse me, 1.5 million to build the capacity and power of Black communities in the U.S. and globally to work on cultural, social, economic, and political upliftment, including support for the National African American Reparations Commission. It's NAARC. IBW-21 will serve as the fiscal sponsor for the National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations NCOBRA, right? We got NAARC and NCOBRA, which will receive $1.5 million for non-lobbying activities to support the movement for reparations for people of African descent in the United States and the global Black diaspora. Now, when you draft up your bylaws and your mission statement, which you'll see in NAARC and in NCOBRA's, what is it? The 10-point, I believe it's called the 10-point reparations program. Now you get an understanding of why these people are doing what they're doing and saying what they're saying. $1.5 million is a lot of money, family. It's a lot of money. I hope y'all can see that good. Let me blow full screen that. $1.5 million, NAARC and NCOBRA. Okay. Let's not be naive. Senator Obama is running for president of the United States. And so he is in a constant battle to save his political life, said Kabibi Tyehimba, co-chair of the National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations in America, NCOBRA. Quote, in light of the demographics of this country, I don't think it's realistic to expect him to do anything other than what he's done. Now, I don't know if this came from the same article. Brother Ty Harper sent me this, but I want to go back to this. These people, look at Manchin. This is how you put Roland Martin. Let me stop shit. Let's put these people back up on the screen. It's how you put their feet back to the fire, or to the fire. Let's put these people back on the screen. Right? This is how you get Roland Martin and these people in the trick bag. If you watch any of Roland Martin's content, when they're talking about Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, these Democrats, and how they are being held to these corporations that fund them and big money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's why they're doing the things that they're doing. And let's start pulling clips of this, family, of these people saying this. We have all that we need to defeat these people. They just have a war chest. We don't. We got, look at our views compared to these people's views. That's why our unity is vital, and grounding ourselves in this Freedmen work is vital. I don't listen to a lot of other YouTube people, family. I just don't, because I don't hear the political work that's needed in a lot of these platforms. It's just a bunch of people talking and complaining, as our elder said. His name is just, his face is right there, Booker T. Washington. They keep the grievances of the Negro in the public so that they could receive a check. And they don't care, and I'm paraphrasing, they don't care about resolving these grievances, because the more they publicize these grievances, the more they get paid. Think about what I just said. Think about what I just read from the MacArthur Foundation and the money that they're giving to NAARC and NCOBRA. And I want to read that again. Excuse me, I got a little allergies going on. One of the drawbacks of me moving to the South from New York City was one of these trees down here says, we're going to greet you with an allergy. And so, I got to deal with it for a couple weeks. So pardon my congestion clearing grunts. IBW 21 will serve as the fiscal sponsor. Matter of fact, let's start from the beginning. I want to start from the beginning of that. Institute of the Black World 21st Century, IBW-21, will receive $1.5 million to build the capacity and power of Black communities in the U.S. and globally to work on cultural, social, economic, and political upliftment, including support for the National African American Reparations Commission. NAARC. IBW-21 will serve as the fiscal sponsor for National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations, NCOBRA, which will receive $1.5 million for non-lobbying activities to support the movement for reparations for Black people of African descent in the United States and the global Black diaspora. Now you understand why they're saying what they're saying. You understand why disingenuous people like Greg Carr and Ray Winbush are trying to stand on these claims, although Greg Carr is trying to flip back and forward. He looked like Ali Muhammad a little bit. He looked like they come from the same bloodline of pseudos. Same bloodline as pseudos. Anyway, you see, these are the people, family. These are the people that are standing in our way. They are the media arm of these people right here, NAARC and NCOBRA. The political arm through this person, Sheila Jackson Lee. And this group of people, the Congressional Black Caucus, is what stands between us and our ultimate justice. We are not in no global fight, family. We are in an American fight. If we have some grant writers, because like I said, I've come across the MacArthur Foundation, and they claim that they're giving out money for black folks. Okay, cool. We have a 501c3 in the United Sons and Daughters of Freedmen. If there are any grant writers in the chat, hit me up. Send an email to btplivecast@gmail.com. Let's test and see if they're really about what they say. Then we can see if this is just some liberal front group funding black liberalism that lines the pockets of elitists who get paid to come on a Roland Martin and talk down on people. Jelani Cobb was on with the sister Tiffany Cross, while our sister Camilla Moore was up there to try to, and she was crushing all of his arguments, crushing them. Like, these people are all interconnected. They're all interconnected. We have to call these people out at every single turn. Every single turn. So I wanted to get on here today and expose this evil axis of NAARC and NCOBRA. And I know I could have went extra deep. Sister Roz and Brother Arthur Ward especially have been on the heads of these people for the longest. And, you know, we see who's running the whole show is these two white men right here who are anti-reparationists. In fact, let's hear what Barack Obama had to say about reparations. Let's hear this. Pay attention, family.
Counterproductive. And it's
Wait a minute. This is an interview between Barack Obama and Bruce Springsteen. Bruce Springsteen and Barack Obama is hosting some type of podcast. I haven't really heard too much about. And the reason why it became a big deal to us is because of what he said about reparations. So pay attention to this, family.
Counterproductive. And it's perfectly understandable why working class white folks, middle class white folks, folks who are having trouble paying the bills or dealing with student loans or, you know, don't have health care, where they feel like government has let them down, wouldn't be thrilled with the idea of a massive program that is designed to deal with the past, but isn't speaking to their future.
You're saying we live in a country where we can do that for bankers on Wall Street, but we can't do it for a part of the population that's been struggling for so long.
Well, I promise you, white folks don't like that either. But look, even though I was convinced that reparations was a non-starter during my presidency, I understand the argument of people I respect, like Ta-Nehisi Coates, that we should talk about it anyway. If for no other reason than to educate the country about a past that too often isn't taught, and let's face it, we'd rather forget.
So y'all heard Obama like you heard it from the horse's own mouth. In summation of what he said is black folks is not going to like the fact that we are going to give freedmen reparations. And he knows because he's a white man. He's a white liberal man with the tan, period. All of his policies have reflected that. Again, I bring this up all the time. Simply Google right now, for those of you who simply Google right now. Yes, brother BTP Prime. Obama sounded like this.
Kadoo. White folks ain't that bad. Kadoo. Look at that. Look. I'm so happy. I just do my happy dance.
All that shucking and jiving and soft shoeing and toe tapping and like that don't fly no more. That's not gonna fly here anymore. It's over with. It's over with. Period. My bro say he's the devil, and he is the devil. So I pull up this report, right, and I'm gonna get to some of the immigration stuff, and then I'm gonna wind it down. I did not plan on being here this long, but I mean, you know, I'm in the kitchen cooking right now, so I might as well finish up the meal, family. I don't know how well y'all can see that. It might be a little pixelated. I'm looking at YouTube. It looks a little clear, so that it's cool. It's cool. So this is from the Color of Wealth report that was done by Dr. Sandy Darity and several other economists. I always forget the year that it was put out. It was never completed. And, you know, of course, when we first got this stuff, we was combing through all of it, right? So I was collecting a lot of this stuff because it was, yeah, he did reference Coates. And Coates' piece needs to be revisited. I was telling the bros that the other day. I'm going to play Coates' piece on a space one of these days, the case for reparations, and we're going to have a discussion about it again. It's time to bring that piece back up because that before we get into this part, that's what Obama tried to do. That's what Yvette Carnell did when she was a Bernie bro. All of these liberal blacks came out and tried to bury what Ta-Nehisi Coates was presenting. What did Yvette Carnell say? She said, she dissed Ta-Nehisi Coates and said reparations looks like what Bernie Sanders is proposing. That's what she said. And somewhere along the line, somebody must have told her, you could get a bag out this reparations thing and get unlimited praise. I don't know if it was a former co-host. I don't know. But anyway, let's look at this chart. So we have at the top ethnicity, and it runs down U.S. Black descendant, Caribbean Black, Cape Verdean, African Black. These are different types of Black people in that field. Next, you have Spanish folk, right? Whites are not on this group. So it's breaking down the 5 racial classifications, categories that you'll find in Federal Directive 15. So for the Spanish part, it has Mexican, Cuban, Puerto Rican, Dominican, South American, Latino. For the Indian or Native American part, it has Cherokee Tribal. I don't know if that, and I think ENR means enroll. I think that means enroll. Creek Tribal enrolled. Other tribal enrolled. American Indian, no tribal enrolled. I believe that's what that is. If I'm incorrect and somebody knows, just put that in the chat for me. At the bottom, you have Asian Americans. Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Filipino, Vietnamese, East Indian. Look at their household wealth. Like, let's start at the bottom because the bottom is the top. $408,000 median value of household wealth. Then this is Los Angeles, just to be clear. This is Los Angeles. Japanese, 592,000. Koreans are kind of low in Los Angeles, but when you go all the way up to the top, which is bottom, Black people are only $4,000 when this report came out in Los Angeles. Man, I cringe to know what those numbers look like now. I cringe. Filipinos, 243,000. Vietnamese, 61,500. Asian Indians, Kamala in them, this is where she's from, $460,000. Black Americans, $4,000. When you put African Blacks as a collective in Los Angeles at the time of the writing of this paper, they were worth $72,000. I hope Winbush and Cam Howard and the NCOBRA and NAARC acolytes are listening. I really do. That space pissed me off earlier because this dude Ray Winbush came on and just pulled a straight sucker move because he's a sucker. And these people are suckers. They're scared to face us. Roland Martin, where you at? Where you at, bro? You're gonna have to face us eventually because we're just growing and growing and growing, and people are starting to see that this Freedmen thing is where we need to be grounded and centered in if we're gonna win. Period. So let's go to Miami, right? And White is featured. My bad. All the way at the very bottom, White is featured. I said White wasn't on the list. All 5 racial classifications are featured. And we know white folks are eating, but man, I mean, Asian Indians like Kamala, Japanese and Chinese people in Los Angeles is making more than white folk. 355,000 is the median value of household wealth there. So let's look at Miami. Start at the bottom, which is top. Whites are worth $107,000. Go to the top, which is bottom. Black people in Miami, freedmen, in Miami, are worth $3,700, family. While Caribbean blacks are worth $12,000. How could this be? Is it that black people are lazy? No, because we did a whole 2 live streams on this book right here. I hope the light is not causing too much of a glare. Back of the Hiring Line by Roy Beck, a 200-year history of immigration surges, employer bias, and depression of black wealth. So it's not laziness. Our people jumped at the opportunity to work. Jumped at it. Cubans in Miami, $22,000. A lot of Cubans down there, they're right wingers, and a lot of them are racist. They hold a lot of white supremacy sentiment as well towards freedmen and other blacks down there. I've heard some of the stories. I have. Let's go to Boston. $8. Freedmen median household wealth in Boston at the time of this report was at $8, and this was done by trusted economists. Right, you see the Samuel Du Bois Cook, right? That's the department that the top socio-economist in the country, Dr. Sandy Darity, heads up in the University of Duke. I believe he's the head. I believe he heads that up. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, right? And I want to run through this. And somebody is saying they all know the data. Sister Janelle Meyer said that. But I want to edify our position in contrast with the repetitive nonsense that's coming out of their mouths, right? $8 in Boston, $18,000 for Caribbean blacks. Puerto Ricans in Boston, $4,079 as compared to $8 for freedmen. Whites, of course, whites are going to be, I don't have to read white statistics. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, we find an interesting, because there are freedmen there that are worth $8,000. Right? We have some early cities that were built there. We have some old money in Oklahoma, in places like Tulsa. We have some old money there. That's a term that's used in places like in Athens, Georgia. You talk to some of the people and they'll tell you get up with this one, get up with that one. There's some old money in this city. This is a place that some of the slaves escaped to, when they were fleeing some of the plantations in Georgia, et cetera, et cetera. Mexicans are right on the heels of freedmen in a place like Tulsa. The Cherokees, who owned slaves, tribal enrolled, $75,200. The Creeks, $42,500. Even other tribal enrolled, their median value household net worth $7,000, and other American Indian no tribe $4,000. And again, I would love to see the statistics for today. A shout out to everybody in the chat. Make sure y'all hit the like button. I'm gonna wrap it up soon, family. I had to get on here and break it down. Sister Ross says Ray Winbush had no data. I mean, he has nothing. These people have no arguments. These people they're weak. They're weak. They're soft. They just, I mean, it is what it is. Let's get into a little bit more of this immigration stuff, because they keep trying to paint us reparationists as anti-immigration. I'm anti-immigration. I'm anti-immigration. Y'all hear it right here. Let's pull up some of this info. Let's pull up some of this info. Now, this is from a paper. Let's scroll up and get the title. Matter of fact, oh, geez. Okay, when diversity for diversity's sake is not enough, should Black immigrants receive the benefit of affirmative action at the detriment of Native Blacks? Y'all have seen me pull this up before. I'm going to pull it up again. I'll put the link in the chat. Give me 1 second. All right, so I already have certain parts where I know where to go, right? So Black immigrants have now become an overrepresented group within Black populations at many colleges and universities, particularly at more selective institutions. Let me pause here. This paper breaks down some things. It breaks down how these Black immigrants, man, I might pull up my notes that I have on this, how these Black immigrants are selected over freedmen in the United States of America. Let me go back. This trend is significant because Black immigrants bring with them experiences and perspectives similar to those held by other immigrant groups as compared to Native Blacks. And more importantly, Black immigrants harbor views of Native Blacks that are similar to those held by the dominant American culture, including many of the negative stereotypes of Native Blacks and the Black subculture. I want you all to absorb what I just read, because African Carr, Greg Carr, Roland Martin, Ray Winbush, Jam Iwu Yor, however you say her name, Digital Sister, Joy Reid, Roland Martin, they're not going to pull this information up, family. Now, think about that. And we've seen these people. We've seen the Twitter spaces. I was in the Clubhouse spaces. 1,000 people in the Clubhouse room, all Africans, all dissing Freedmen. They say it's not all of them. Well, they don't poll all Americans about everything. They get a nice sample size, and you're able to make a determination from the sample size. And using the sample size, what this paper that was written in, let's go back. Let's go back, because they think we bug. June 5th of 2013, this paper said that these people hold views of us as the dominant society, meaning racist white folks in the United States of America, including many of the negative stereotypes of our people and the subculture here. Imagine now NAARC and NCOBRA fighting to give these people that just hopped off a plane our reparations, family. Our reparations. Imagine that. Imagine how crazy that sounds. Let me put this link in the chat. Read that, family. Like it's a bunch of stuff that I can pull from just from this document alone. I have something highlighted. Okay. Let me see. It says diversity of student experiences within a student body helps to break down deeply held stereotypes of certain minority groups held by both black and non-black students who will likely go on to become leaders in American society. Joy Reid is not one of us. She's viewed as a leader of sorts. Kamala Harris is not one of us. She's the vice president. They threw out all of the black girl magic nonsense. And they got our people to vote because everybody was so anti-Trump. You got to vote. We rejected her in the primaries. We rejected Jim Crow, Joe Biden. Who did they tap? Who did they tap? Who did they tap? They tapped Clyburn. They tapped this man that does this for them.
Could white folks ain't that bad. Could look at that. Look, I'm so happy. I just do my happy dance.
That's who they tapped. It continues. In a society where a long history of racial division has led to the dominant culture often viewing all black people as the same, admitting disproportionate numbers of black immigrants dilutes the intended effect of diversity. When black immigrants attending an institution also hold negative stereotypes of Native blacks and are overrepresented within a student population. Y'all know how we do here at Be the Power, family. We pull up the studies and the information. We don't freestyle anything. Pull it up. We show and prove. Students attending these institutions may look to those immigrants as representing the Black American experience. In the notes, let me read from the notes. It's from the same paper, though. It says, overrepresentation of black immigrants at institutions of higher education. The practice of selecting. I put that link in the chat, family. Let me put it in there again, because I want you all, if you haven't read this, I know some of you have seen me pull this up before, and maybe you haven't read it, but now you need to. Now you need to. The practice of selecting black immigrants over Native blacks who have roots in the United States is a sensitive issue within academic circles, particularly in the admissions process. That's not what's up on the screen. I mean, let me just be fair and pull that up. Academic circles, particularly in the admissions process. In 2004, the New York Times reported on the large immigrant populations within black student bodies on the campuses of many elite colleges and universities. During a reunion of Harvard University's black alumni, two prominent professors pointed out that of the roughly 530 members of Harvard's black undergraduate population, black immigrants comprised as much as 2/3. This is Harvard, y'all. A school that historically locked freedmen out. Historically locked us out. Saw the immigrant and opened their arms to them in a way to say, we'll take the black immigrant. But we have already made a pact with death and a covenant with hell against these freedmen. And so we'll take a freedman here and a freedman there, but we'll accept all the black immigrants coming over. It continues. The article shed light on the fact that although there are many Native black students who could perform well at top-tier institutions, many selective institutions have seemed content to take higher performing black immigrants over Native blacks. What at the time appeared like an observation of two professors of one black student body at one university in actuality was indicative of a larger trend. Family, These are the people that your Ray Winbushes, your Cam Howards, your Nkiche, what's her name? Nkiche, your Jam Ayu Warriors, your Roland Martins, your Greg Carr. These are the people that they're saying also this same paper highlights how they have high school diplomas when they get here. Try to think, family. All of you who might be on the fence, I want you to think about all that I've read and all. You want some more? Okay, well let's go through this. One more real quick. One more real quick. Okay, this is from nber.org. I forget what NBER stands for. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, the National Bureau of Economic Research. Effects of immigration on African American employment and incarceration. They highlight this section here. The 1980 through 2000 immigration influx, therefore, generally explains about 20 to 60% of the decline in wages, 25% of the decline in employment, and about 10% of the rise in incarceration rates among blacks with the high school education or less. These are freedmen they talking about, family. These are freedmen. These are, okay, let me see. Almost everybody knows in the past 40 years, the real wages and job prospects for low-skilled men, especially low-skilled minority workers, have fallen. And there is evidence, although no consensus, that a rising tide of immigration is partly to blame. Now, a new NBER study suggests that immigration has more far-reaching consequences than merely depressing wages and lowering employment rates of low-skilled African American males. Its effects also appear to push some would-be workers into crime and later into prison. When you're looking at the rise in gangs, I know I have young sons. I see in a place like New York where the job market is oversaturated with immigrants. When we're speaking about general labor jobs, right? It's hard to get. So I tell my people to leave New York and come down out the freedmen, come back to the South. There's a lot of jobs down in the South. That's one thing I can say. I'm not saying that the economic conditions are any better, but them 18, 19, 20 to 25-year-olds could come down here and they will find a job. That's a fact because I live down here. So let me see. Let me go to the book because we're speaking about black men, right? So let's go to Roy Becks's book, y'all. Let's read the statistics. Let's read what the statistics say. Let me see. Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna do this. It says this is from page 16. The percentage of children growing up in a single-parent household in the United States has risen rapidly since 1970 among all races. The rate has been fastest for white children, having tripled. Nonetheless, the white rate is still only about half that of the black rate, which has doubled since 1970. Well, we know the war on drugs. Reference Michelle Alexander's work, The New Jim Crow, right? We can plug in these pieces because his book isn't dedicated to that. But because we've read those books, we could reference our listeners to those studies so that they could plug it in themselves like we've done. Most studies have found that income and not race is the determining factor behind changes in family formation. Non-college degree Americans of all races have seen their real incomes stagnate or decline during the last several decades of loose labor markets. But no group has been hit harder than Black men. So he goes on and says, let me see, I'm going to skip some parts. By depressing job opportunities and wages for young Black men without college degrees, sustained immigration surges have made it less likely that young men can even imagine having the income to marry and take responsibility for a family. Federal data in 2018 showed that 42% of all Black men aged, because I stressed it because he emphasizes all, because he italicizes it. Let me start again. Federal data in 2018 showed that 42% of all Black men aged 25 through 34 earned less than the $25,100 needed to provide for a family of four above the poverty line. How could family formation occur in those kinds of conditions? Asked Roger Wilkins when presented with similar bleak statistics in the 1990s. Wilkins, the highest ranking African American in the Johnson administration, complained to National Public Radio, NPR, "We hear people talking about Black families falling apart, but we don't hear anybody talking about putting Black men to work, giving Black families the economic wherewithal to stay together and raise their children." There's so many different places that I can go with that alone, not for the sake of time, but I wanted to stress how immigration has hurt us as a people. Shout out Sister BTP Riri. Shout out to all the BTP mods that's in the building. You know, y'all help keep this thing running. Again, y'all know when I'm on live, I can't see all of the live chat. So, okay, hold on. My bro BTP Prime is asking for that particular source from the National Bureau of Economic Research. Now I got to remember that. National Bureau of Economic Research. So you have a group in NAARC NCOBRA that's lying to us, family. They're gaslighting us. They're using people like Roland Martin and Greg Carr, and they're using the fallacy of authority to try to talk down to us because they don't think that we're sharp. They don't think that we're studied enough. But we will cook every last one of them. That's why they don't come on. That's why we ask y'all to support our platform and our channel and help us grow. We gotta put this info, like, just be honest. I'm gonna do what Sister Morgan said and brag a little bit. Ain't nobody putting out information on these platforms the way we do it. Live and direct. Nobody. Not as it pertains to our people and their plight, because we're for real about this. You may have some people that talk about reparations and reparative justice, but we know that some of these people, right, because we used to be connected with them, they're phony. They're not about reparations at all. They're trying to become the next BLM group. And like I said, other people, I mean, it's people that's making videos about this stuff. They not even freedmen. This is where it needs to start at, fam. Period. NAARC and NCOBRA are dangerous to our plight. If we are to receive reparative justice in this nation, then we have to be 10 toes down in this fight against this nefarious group of liars and gaslighters who are being funded to convolute Black or freedmen issues with some Black global diasporic melu. It's not what we're doing here. That's not reparations. That brother Phil from the Advise Show on the African Diaspora channel, you know, he's Pan-African, But he said CARICOM's 10-point program is trash. And he broke it down in a recent video. He said it's trash. And it is trash. HR 40 is trash. It's a trash reparations bill. It's time to chuck it. All right, man. So I'm going to get off air. Thank you all for coming through for another BTP session. We wanted to expose Ray Winbush for the sucker that he is. He came on. He disrespected our sister Roz. He didn't want to have a real conversation with her. He tried to do the bulldoze tactic when she tried to speak, make non-sequitur arguments. Are you African? No, I'm American. Not African. I'm American. Do you mean, do I have ancestry that can trace back to Africa? Is that what you mean? Yes? Okay, then reframe your question when you ask it the next time. Or do you want to ask it over? Come on, man. Stop playing with us. And that's why these people, they really don't want no smoke. That's why that dude ran up out of there when our brother Ali came on. And, you know, it is what it is, man. So I'm going to end the room. And y'all know the motto of the platform, and that is don't just fight the power, become the power. And then and only then will you have the power to make a change. With that, I say peace.